Hi, I'm William Gelner. I'm the Executive Creative Director at 180 LA. You think that when you come out here and it's blue, sunny skies and palm trees and ocean and beach, everything's kind of laid back and everything's kind of chilled, that's just the way it's going to be. But the truth of the matter is, you work just as hard as you do if you're on the East Coast or in London or some of these other markets. You work just as hard, just as many hours, just as many weekends, just as many holidays. But your lifestyle's better. So that's the first quick thing I've learned, is that you work just as hard, but you have a better, I think, quality of life. It's nice that I can just look out and see the ocean and run out and do a quick surf at lunch. Can't do that everywhere.
I guess that's why I feel so wrong to see the world.
We don't want to really have one client or a house style, which is unusual for LA, I found. Like coming out, New York, that's kind of commonplace.
Right.
But coming out to LA, you find that there are many agencies here that are completely 100% dependent upon, founded on, and revolve around one client, and usually a car client. Car clients are huge out here. And there are many agencies that literally, if that car client, heaven forbid, were to leave one day, the whole thing just shutters. And that's happened here many times. It's kind of crazy to think that would exist today, but it does.
Yeah.
Bags broken, barely making it by, but still they working.
I think there's also a resurgence on the West Coast, in the LA area in particular. I think for many, many years, when you thought of LA, you thought of one or two agencies, the main one being Chiat, because it's been here forever. It's a great big, famous agency with, Lee Clow kind of running the show, and he is a legend in the business, and he's phenomenal. He's a great dude, and an icon in the business. But there weren't that many other places that would come to mind, and that kind of went on for many, many years. And there were a couple of smaller shops and maybe a couple of medium-sized shops. But in the last, I'd say 5 years, 4 years, even 3 years, there's been a lot of new shops opening up in LA, and it's making it really interesting. There's a lot of good, small, creative shops and medium-sized shops that have sprung up, and more opening every day. And I think there's definitely something happening here that hadn't happened in a very long time. And that's kind of exciting to see. The world of content, the way that we think about content, what we consume, what we create, has always been sort of church and state when it comes to advertising, right? Our content was always limited to the 30-second or 15-second TVC or print ad, and that was kind of it. And with the advent of the internet and social media, and technology, where you can create your own content, whether it's user-generated, by just consumers, or it's done, as longer pieces of content that we make. You can find it, make it, watch it, syndicate it, spread it so easily now that I think that this whole world about thinking that advertising is no longer limited to the 30-second spot, but can actually be a piece of content that people seek out and want to share, that's share-worthy. I think that phenomenon might have something to do with it, because in many ways, this is kind of the entertainment capital of the world. Almost every movie or television show, a lot of that stuff comes from here. And this is sort of, it's not surprising that when you need to shoot a commercial, you would come here, right? The best people in the business are out here, and the whole place is geared up for making content. Our thought on digital is that digital, it felt like it used to be a separate thing. It used to be like, you would think of digital almost as media, print media, TV media, digital media, and that seemed to be the way that many people thought about it for a while. And then now everyone's saying it's all connected. Well, actually, I think everything's digital now, right? It's almost kind of crazy to even use the term digital, because our lives are digital. It's like saying we're air. I mean, air is just air, and digital is just the way we live our lives now. So, whether I'm using my iPhone or I'm on, my computer, or even, if I'm on my, reading my kids' stories on my iPad, like, the world is digital. Everything you do is digital. You can't start your car up without being digital. So we kind of just think of it as it's all connected. It's all one thing. It's not a separate thing. And treat it as such. That's the way we live our lives now. And now with social media in the world that we live in, it's no longer about launch it and leave it type campaign mentality. It's about 365 days of interaction and conversation. So it's a really interesting time, and in many ways the world financially needs that, clients need that, agencies need to be adept at that, and it just so happens that the world is now in tune with that with social media. So it's kind of the perfect storm in a way.